What's going on, everyone? Happy Saturday. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, flu test, or a test for some other virus, I hope you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Saturday edition of the Virus Update for Saturday, January 25th, 2025. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the Virus Update on all things COVID and all those other viruses that can make us sick. For the most part, we do these updates daily. Once in a while, we do take a break here and there. I do believe there's going to be a break in the virus update coming up. Probably in about a week or so. We'll take a few days off, which we have not done since, I don't remember the last time. I think it was early December we did miss a day. We're going to miss a few days at the end of next week. I'll explain that in the coming days, but you want to stay informed with what's going on with these viruses. This is the place to do that. There have been so many news stories put out by the local news stations, the CDC, sometimes the CDC, all these other different outlets, and pretty much I compile them all into one. I line up the tabs, and we go through them, and we talk about them, and then we take a look at whatever data is left. And I do that pretty much almost daily to keep you informed of what's going on with these viruses. Want to stay informed? Subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. And, of course, leave your comments down below. Alrighty, there is a Saturday update today, and there's quite a few news stories. And so, I say we should just get right into it, shall we? First avian flu case of the year has been detected in Kennebunk, Maine. Yep, bird flu H5N1 is now showing up in Maine, and it's been showing up in a lot of places. Connecticut, New Haven, is now reporting that there is a backyard flock in New Haven County that is coming up for, you guessed it, yet again, H5N1. So this is rather concerning, how many reports we've seen. And I don't precisely know how many I have reported this week, but it seems like every day I now have something for H5N1. Maybe tomorrow we'll buck the trend because it's Sunday. Oftentimes Sunday's a slower news day, but we'll see. Moving on here. South Dakota Department of Health reports a whooping cough death. Yes, there has been a death from whooping cough reported in South Dakota. And it says this death goes back to 2020, or the last time South Dakota had a whooping cough related death was 2023. This death is in a child. Moving on now to this, West Virginia whooping cough cases. A wake-up call, physician says. Yep, whooping cough cases are rising at this point in West Virginia. And it says during the 2023-2024 school year, 98% of West Virginians kindergarten students were vaccinated for pertussis compared to 92% nationwide. I gotta say, that's a rather impressive stretch, or impressive number for West Virginia. 98%? That actually surprises me from a state that's a little bit more red, if you know what I mean. Republican. South Carolina reports first pediatric flu death of the season. Yep, flu deaths, they are really starting to add up, not just South Carolina, all around the country. There have been many flu deaths reported as of lately, and you know what? Mississippi joined the party as well. It's not a good party. It's a sad party. We'll call it a wake. Mississippi reports first pediatric flu death of the 2024 to 2025 flu season. So as noted, flu deaths, they are going up. Study shows for most long COVID symptoms, long COVID symptoms persist into the second year. I can raise my hand back when I was initially infected in 2020. The second year, yes, I still did have ongoing issues. And, well, we'll have to see what happens. For those who are new to the channel, I did have COVID back during the holidays. I had a mystery virus, then tested positive for COVID just after Christmas. And then after that, I had rebounded where I went negative, and then a few days later, positive again, and was actually sicker the second go around with that rebound. And we'll have to see here. Every once in a random while, issues do pop up, but I'm happy to report so far today is a good day. Just a few coughs this morning when I wake up. That's normal to me. So, so far today, knock on wood, today has been a good day. Illinois had at least 103 outbreaks of norovirus in November and December following national trend. That's not a good thing. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Norovirus has been just running rampant all around the United States this year, and I think a few other countries as well. I'm going to try and get some international data for tomorrow's video. All right, reminder, my website, datareport.info, it is loaded with information. If I find studies, news stories, I archive them there. Some people have been asking, can I back up the site? I've been looking into it. I went on to the support forum for the host, and it looks like what they can do is they can download my site into a file or create a file of it or something. It doesn't look like it's something that would be really easy to do. There's no real other way. But backing up these videos, that is a thing. And the majority of these videos, I do have it saved, whether it be on this hard drive, this computer, or an external drive or something. They are saved. They just need to be organized into one place. And, well, maybe I could even just re-download them all from YouTube or something. But for the most part, the majority of them are saved. You can see here on the website, one thing we do that I am very active about and keeping up with is adding COVID studies. If I find one, whether it be from 2020 through now, I add it, and the new ones as well. All right, moving on. We have to take a look at this. California, as promised today. Sci-Fi tweeted out California. So I figured, you know what? Since he posted about this, let's use this, what he has, rather than the dashboard. And we'll have more California in a little bit from CJS, who did provide us with some data today. California flu positivity spikes to 23.1%. COVID positivity declines to 2.4%. And 39% of wastewater sites are actually, yes, increasing for COVID in California. It's not the majority, but hey, 39%, it's still a good number, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. COVID positivity, history, and wastewater for flu shown below. And you can see here that for the 2024-2025 season, yeah, it's still rising at this point. And LA reports a flu positivity, wow, 27% flu positivity rate in LA. That is horrible. COVID positivity rate increases to 3.65%. Influenza-like illness visits remain very high at 11%. Some of these shelters where the evacuees from the fires have had to go could be dealing with illness. I think it was earlier this week, we reported on the fact that there was a norovirus outbreak at one of them. So yes, these things can happen. Already, I posted a poll question this morning. I also posted something else, but I decided to use this instead. Simple question. If you have had COVID, are you now seeing new doctors or specialists you never had to see before you had COVID? So far, 128 votes, 59.4% said yes, 40.6% said no. And I'm going to retweet this tomorrow for those who are novids, in other words, meaning never had COVID. I will retweet it, and for those so they can see the results, and that will be later tomorrow morning. And some people put in the comments stating that they haven't seen new doctors because it's not safe. I fully get that. There's a lot of offices that do not take precautions. All right, the viral activity levels in Canada are as follows. I have to refresh this in case it updated. COVID-19, moderate. Flu A, high. Flu B, moderate. And RSV is listed high in Canada at this time. We'll do a recap of the UK tomorrow. Taking a look, we're going to skip over air quality today. Not much has changed. Bad in the west, still some bad spots in the east. This is rather important. Philadelphia yesterday, 875 EMS incidents. That is a high number, don't you think? I think it is. Taking a live look at what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And we do see 3 calls for respiratory emergency, vomiting showing up, and some other calls. Chester County has not been terribly busy today, but they have had some calls. You can see sick person has shown up. And again, it's not that busy there right now. I have been listening to rural Pennsylvania, Center County. I like to keep up on that county. I'm still behind several days. I can actually go into the archives and listen back, and which is what I've been doing. Last weekend, they got hit really hard. And I think rural Pennsylvania in general is getting hit really hard. I'll explain when we get to CJS's numbers in just a second. Walgreens this week, the national COVID positivity rate is 12.2%. 0.3%. All right, we're going to finish today with CJS's number. And you're saying finish? Short video today. Well, take a look at all of his numbers today. Yeah, he really went above and beyond. Thank you so much for all these numbers that you gave to us, because it is really helpful. And I know it's got to be getting harder for you with the CDC data. I mean, we're getting some things, or it sounds like we're not going to be getting death data from the CDC anymore. Yeah, really strange times that we're in. Why would we not want communication on the spread of disease? But hey, what do I know? Alrighty, moving on now to his numbers. Some of these are daily and weekly numbers. First off, Florida, daily number yesterday, 287 new cases and 3 new deaths reported today. And for the week, they had 3,428 cases and 33 deaths reported over the past 7 days. And 99,053 total COVID deaths as reported by the state. New Jersey, weekday, 595 new cases reported today, and 3,977 cases and 13 deaths reported this week, and 37,241 total COVID deaths as reported by the state. New York, daily, 1,703 new cases reported yesterday, and 8,388 cases reported this week, along with 36 deaths as reported by Hertz. Here's their total COVID deaths, 84,780. Before we get to Puerto Rico, I have to remind you, take your hydration break. If you're sick, even if you're not sick, always good to stay hydrated. Let's do that now. Today's drink of choice is water for that. All right, Puerto Rico, daily, 280 new cases and 1 new death reported today, and 1,331 cases and 2 deaths reported this week, and 7,845 total COVID deaths as reported by the territory. Alabama, weekly, 189 COVID reported hospitalizations, 23,607 total COVID deaths as reported by the CDC data tracker. California, weekly number, 64 new deaths and 110,259 total deaths. This is from the start of the pandemic, as reported by the state. Los Angeles County, weekly, they reported 1,023 new cases and 20 new deaths. Los Angeles County has a total of 38,141 total COVID deaths as reported by the county. San Diego, weekly, and they do weekly during the virus season, 369 new cases and 3 new deaths. Their pandemic total is 6,625. And coming down to, I hope I say this correctly, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, Alameda County, weekly, 1 new death, 2,498 total COVID deaths reported by the county. Orange County, weekly, 2 new deaths, and their pandemic total is 8,889. Santa Clara, weekly, 3 new deaths, 3,239 total pandemic COVID deaths. Georgia, weekly number, 244 CDC hospitalizations, and 44,643 total COVID deaths as reported to the state through January 2nd. Idaho, 528 emergency department visits, and their total deaths for the pandemic is 5,885. Illinois, 642 CDC reported hospitalizations this week. They added another 23 deaths to their total of 42,865. Iowa, 146 hospitalizations and 11,974 total COVID deaths. Kansas, 113 reported hospitalizations, 11,272 total pandemic deaths. Louisiana did not report this week, likely due to that winter storm. Their pandemic total for deaths is 19,996. Mississippi, 102 reported hospitalizations, 15,949 total COVID deaths. Missouri, 235 CDC hospitalizations, and 23,995 total COVID deaths. Montana, 241 new cases, and 4,151 total COVID deaths. Nebraska, 436 new positive tests, and 6,266 total COVID deaths. New Hampshire, 70 CDC reported hospitalizations and 3 state reported deaths. Their pandemic total is 3,480 total COVID deaths. Pennsylvania, My state. The ridiculous just gets more ridiculous. 1,599 CDC reported hospitalizations just this week in my state, which represents a whopping 12.11% of the national total for the week, which was 13,200. The total number of deaths in Pennsylvania is 56,357. Yeah, you can bet that number is going up with this many hospitalizations. Rhode Island is, they were delayed by a day. 43 new state-reported hospitalizations and 3 new deaths. 4,465 total COVID deaths as reported by the state. South Carolina, 168 CDC-reported hospitalizations. 22,695 total COVID deaths per CDC tracker. Texas, 2,000, this is a weekly number, 2,054 new cases and 23 state-reported deaths. They've had a pandemic total of 106,593 COVID deaths. West Virginia, weekly number, 732 new positive tests and a test case positivity rate of 9.39%. That's still bad. And 9,350 total COVID deaths as reported by the CDC. Wisconsin, weekly number, 1,889 new tests. The positivity rate there is 8.1%. And their pandemic total COVID deaths is 18,431. Wyoming reports 78 new cases and 2,323 total COVID deaths as reported by the CDC data tracker. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Saturday edition of the Virus Update. We will have another edition again tomorrow, and we will have updates this upcoming week through to about Wednesday. After that, we are going to be taking a little bit of a winter break. I mean, we've been doing these updates day after day after day for quite some time. So probably after that Wednesday, we're going to take a break, and then we will resume the following week, probably that following Tuesday. But we'll see, subject to change. If bird flu news goes crazy this week, maybe I'll just cancel that break. Alright, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. I will see you all again tomorrow for Wastewater Sunday. Until I see you again tomorrow afternoon, stay safe, everyone. Have a fantastic Saturday, and thanks for watching.